Alright, it's time to roll the wheel again. This time for Randomized Abyss 2.5. Who's going to be our first candidate? Oh, it's Xingqiu! Wait, that's really good. Xingqiu is actually one of my most built characters. We're actually off to a really good start here. Okay, who else? Raiden? Raiden? Oh, it's Chi-Chi. That's kind of awkward. I don't have Chi-Chi. I guess we just have to roll again. Arataki Ito? I also don't have Ito. Awkward. Who's it gonna be? Oh, it's Hu Tao? I don't have Hu Tao either. Yeah, I probably should have just removed all the 5 stars I don't have from the list beforehand. What is this? Yoimiya? I also don't have Yoimiya. Okay, well, as long as we keep removing them from the wheel, eventually we'll get someone that I do have. Who's it? Oh, Raiden? Let's go, Raiden Shogun. Okay, this is actually huge because Xingqiu Raiden is a really powerful core. You basically can't go wrong if you have these two characters together on a team. Wait, I got Ganyu? Okay, that's really good. But now I'm getting a little bit worried because if top team has too many good characters, the odds are going to be reduced for bottom team. Oh, we got Razor. Well, it's nice to get him out of the way. Sorry, Razor. But I mean, he's not really built. Okay, so our top team is going to be Xingqiu, Raiden, Ganyu, Razor. Let's see who's on the bottom team. Oh, Diano! Well, Diano's a really good shielder and healer. Oh, Ayaka! Wait, we actually managed to get Diano and Ayaka together. That's amazing. Diano is really good for Ayaka specifically because Diano gives her the crowd energy that she needs. Alright, who else do we have? Wait, Rosaria? Okay, that's really nice too. Rosaria can also be a battery for Ayaka. Okay, one more character. Can we get some Geo or some Hydro? Shoot, Fischl? Well, I mean, Fischl is pretty good in a vacuum. It's just that in this situation, we're not going to be able to break the wolf heads easily without Geo, and we also can't freeze the Vishaps on 12-1. Yeah, I mean, should be doable, I think. I should have enough damage regardless. Well, yeah, let's see how it goes. Bottom team is going to be Diano, Ayaka, Rosaria, and Fischl. Hey, welcome to my channel. Chernobyl here with another Floor 12 Randomized Abyss run. This time, I picked a crit card, and as you can see, my top team is going to be Raiden, Ganyu, Xingqiu, and Razor, as dictated by the Wheel of Fate. Right off the bat, I put down Ganyu's burst, and then I cycle through everyone's bursts, and that takes care of the first wave of pounds. This is a really powerful team. First of all, we have Raiden and Xingqiu, a very powerful core, and then we have Ganyu, who helps by providing freeze and also taunt. Obviously, I'm not going to get perfect freeze uptime here because Raiden's coordinated attacks with E applies Electro, but I still end up getting some decent freeze uptime regardless. And to top it off, we have Razor, who, even though he isn't built, he does support the team by providing the Noblesse buff and the Wolf's Gravestone buff. He's also an Electro character, so he gives me Electro Resonance, and his burst costs 80, and 80 cost burst works really well for giving Raiden Resolve, especially because I do have Raiden C1. So this team cleans up topside in about a minute. No healer though, so lots of corrosion damage. Unlike topside, which is quick and consistent, 12-1 bottom is a chaotic crapshoot. So my team here is Fischl, Diona, Ayaka, and Rosaria. And the main problem here lies with Ayaka, specifically with Ayaka's burst. See, these Vishap enemies, even though they have a large stature, they're extremely lightweight. So they stagger easily and they stagger far, and that means it's hard to keep them inside Ayaka's burst. The only way to keep them inside the burst consistently that I found is to pin them against the wall near the pillar like that. But even that setup is not fail-safe because sometimes they will just refuse to cooperate and come near the walls, and sometimes they will do something funky during the burst animation and cause the direction stagger to be wrong. In any case, I managed to dispose of these two smaller Bishops, and now here come the two big Bishops. The game plan is the same, wait for them to come to the wall and hope that they stay there. I reapply Oz for the elegy buff whenever I can, and I make sure to funnel all my cryo particles to Ayaka so that she can keep using that burst, and hopefully get some hits with it. This burst also lands pretty cleanly. It takes out about half of this big Bishop's HP bar, which is quite nice. All things considered, this run is going pretty well. Here's another Oz. But yeah, because of the stagger issue, I strongly prefer playing Ganyu over Ayaka. With Ganyu, at least, I'm not forced to play Freeze, I can play Melt, I can even play Solo if I want. But then with Ayaka, if I take her away Freeze, she just feels so bad to play. At least at C0. I think at C2 it does get better, because she has like 3 swirlies. But at C0 at least, without Freeze, Ayaka just feels bad to play. That burst there, for example, did not do nearly as much damage as the previous one, because I wasn't able to get these Bishops to cooperate and go near the wall. Still, by applying a profuse amount of charge attacks with this nice AoE, I managed to take down one of the big Bishops and there's only one left. So 3 stars is in sight, but I really want to stress that in spite of how this run may look, it is far more uncomfortable than it seems, and it took me about a whole hour of resetting before I got these 3 stars. In 12-2 top, I picked the attack percent card, and as I hurry over to these 2 rune graders, I have to watch out. It didn't happen this time, but sometimes what can happen is one of these rune graders can start running, and if it starts running, I have to hit its weak spot on its ankle as soon as possible, otherwise it will be too far and that's an automatic reset. Or if they both start running at the same time in opposite direction, that's also an automatic reset. Anyways, I use Raiden's burst to recharge all my other bursts, Raiden being the great battery she is. And now, after I throw out Ganyu's burst and Xingqiu's burst, these rune graders will just sit there, mostly frozen, waiting to die to my next Raiden burst. This half only takes 25 to 30 seconds, so you can easily fight. My 12-2 bottom team will be facing against the Golden Wolf Lord. And for teams without Geo, there are basically 2 ways to do Golden Wolf Lord, the fast way and the slow way. The fast way involves nuking him down before he can shield up, so that skips the shield phase. And you can do this from 100 to 0 if your team is really strong, or from 66 to 0 if your team is strong but not that strong. Sadly, this team can't even do 66 to 0, so we're going the slow way. Rosaria here takes to the air because of some funky hitbox shenanigans. I actually have a pretty cool video where I speedrun this Abyss cycle in 4 minutes, and the highlight of that run, I believe, is my Rational team doing Wolf Lord from 100 to 0 and bypassing shields. But yeah, my Ayaka falls a bit short. So after the Wolf Lord has shielded up, I can still get some particles from the main body. I just cannot do any damage to it. And I similarly cannot get any particles from the wolf heads, which is kind of annoying. I saved Fischl's Q for this part because I want to use Fischl's E for this first head, Fischl's Q on the next one, and then Fischl's E again for the last head, just to help with elemental application. So here I try my best to dodge these projectiles, but I do get hit by some of them. It's okay though, I have Diona to help heal everyone and keep everyone alive. Unlike my top team, where everyone just got corroded on 12-1 and there's no healer. So, if you stand behind the wolf head, you do manage to dodge some of these missiles, which is nice. And after this last wolf head goes down, Ayaka should have her burst back, and then I will be trying to nuke down the rest of this wolf lord's HP. And here we go, applying all the buffs, including Noblesse and the crit buff, and then throwing out the Q. Then just doing the standard Ayaka combo, switching to Fischl and summoning Oz for just a bit of extra damage. Here I make a mistake, I try to battery Ayaka some more for another burst, but that's really not necessary at all. In fact, by the time her burst is back, the Wolf Lord has already taken to the air, so that was just a pointless DPS loss. I switch to Fischl and resummon Oz, and attempt to whittle down the last bit of the Golden Wolf Lord's HP using auto-targeting. The Wolf Lord likes to use Tornado after shielding. The Tornado does a lot of damage, but I don't have a choice. I can't wait for this attack to end, so I had to stand into the Tornado and spam left click. Luckily, the Wolf Lord dies first. On 12-3, I select a crit card once again. You know, it's funny. 12-1 in this run was obnoxiously hard, and then 12-2 was still pretty challenging, and then you have 12-3, which is just trivial. Like, why? Why did it decide to make 12-1 so much harder than 12-3 in the same Abyss cycle? I don't really understand, but, you know, it is what it is. Here I use a secret Razor tech, using Razor's Hold E battery right in Shogun. Very uncommon for the concept. And here you can tell that I've really shut my brain off and I'm just going on autopilot doing whatever. because after 12-1 and 12-2, the 9 stars is already secured, so I'm not even using Ganyu's burst, I'm just using Raiden's questionable physical numbers to finish off this last enemy. On the other side, my team will be fighting the 2 Coral Defenders from Economia, and you can tell that this is a first try fight, because my computer actually lags here, trying to load in these 2 Coral Defenders for the first time. Well, the first time during this Genshin session. Here I toss Rosaria's Q and Ayaka's Q. Ayaka's Q gets some hits in, but then the 2 bosses jump to the center, so bit of a DPS loss, but it's not gonna matter. The DPS requirement on this chamber is really not high. I mean, I guess what they were thinking was probably, this is a double boss fight, which means it's more complex. They also drain your energy, and they also have this shared fate mechanic where you have to kill them around the same time, so that could potentially make it hard for some players. Though even so, I don't know if it really warrants them having such a low HP pool, but, well, whatever. Here I summon Oz again, proc Elegy, and get some more damage going in. And Ayaka should have a burst ready soon. Yep, there we go. Yeah, it's really nice that these bosses don't stagger, so Ayaka's burst always, well, almost always gets full value. Here I get hit by the energy draining projectiles because I'm playing very suboptimally, but it's not gonna matter. The boss is coming to the center for the laser attack, and that's a great time for me to unload all my AoE. And after one more Ayaka burst on purple, because purple has more health, the fight should be almost over. Yep, here we go. My Ayaka is definitely overcapping on crit rate here because I selected 2 crit rate cards, but that's alright. Just a couple more normal and charged attacks. And there we go. 9 stars accomplished with randomized teams. It's time to show off my builds, starting with Raiden, repping a lot of attack, a lot of ER, and not a lot of crit damage. Kinda weird, but Genshin Optimizer said it was optimal. Here's Ganyu, using that prototype Crescent, but never actually firing a single charge shot this entire run. So I guess that passive wasn't really put to use, huh? Xingqiu being Xingqiu, massacring enemies as always with his ridiculously good Glad and Noblesse pieces, which I got from the Strongbox. And then there was Razor, who was surprisingly helpful, providing everyone with the Wolf's Gravestone buff, and also giving Raiden an Electro Burst that costs 80 for a resolve. So that was the top team. On the bottom side we have Fischl, wielding the Elegy to buff everyone. Unfortunately the EM buff from Elegy not doing much because I was only getting Super Conduct and no other reactions. Diano keeping everyone alive, although maybe I should have been running Fav Bow instead of Sack Bow on her this time. Rosaria, I did I did raise her Q to level 8, so she is doing some decent damage with that, while also buffing Ayaka's crit rate. And finally, Ayaka, who is running not for Peace Blizzard because I don't have any freeze, and also borrowing Kating's Jade Cutter. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. This is Chernobyl, signing out.